Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and call this meeting to order. I'm gonna note this is the time and place set for the Ethics Commission meeting for July 11th, 2024. And clerk, if we can get a roll call vote, please.
Church, Howarth,
Here.
King,
Here.
Rourke, Zimmerman.
Here.
3 present, 2 absent.
Thank you, clerk. So the first order of business is the consideration of minutes from the last meeting, which was on May 9th, 2024. If anyone doesn't have any changes or edits to it, then we can move to the next.
Mr. Chair, I'd move that the commission approve and adopt the draft minutes of the May 9th, 2024 meeting of this Boise City Ethics Commission as proposed.
Roll call vote.
Howarth,
Aye.
King,
Aye.
Zimmerman. All in favor, motion carries.
Thank you, ma'am. Request for advisory opinions. It doesn't seem like we have any requests for advisories. Patrick, do you care to mention anything or? Okay. Okay, we're gonna note that the next 4 items on the agenda, request for advisory opinions, request for inquiry and inquiry determinations are next on the list. And doesn't seem that we have anything scheduled for either. Is there anything that the chair, vice chair, or chairperson that we need to mention before we move on?
Oh.
Okay, since there are no advisory opinions, let's get a roll call vote to move on. We don't? So we're gonna go ahead and go to special business. There was some talk last meeting on regarding the ethics handbook. It seems that the ethics handbook has been updated, but not published as of yet. Is there any other feedback from the commissioners that we would like to entertain regarding the Ethics Commission policies, handbooks, literature thereof?
One of the questions I have related to how de minimis is defined throughout. I would assume that $50 still applies per the code section, but it was just an example of something that I didn't know if it made sense to instead reference the then in effect amount in the code so that we're not having to update it if that amount increases or something along those lines. Really not a major deal. It's just that, you do a control F $50 and replace that with whatever else was in here. But I don't know how complicated it is for this this handbook to be modified, if that's just something that the city staff can do, or if it needs to go through some sort of an additional process.
That's a good question regarding the amount and the edits on that. Patrick, do you have any suggestions?
Thank you, Chairman King and Commissioner Howarth. So to make sure I understand what the point is that you're making, I believe what you're saying is right now it references in the handbook the actual dollar amount of $50, which
Correct.
is the current amount of within what is defined as a valuable gift. Anything under that dollar amount is considered de minimis and doesn't trigger the ethics code until it becomes a valuable gift under the code. And
Right.
as I understand the question, you're wondering if, given the fact that this number could change over time, and then we would need to go and edit this handbook once again down the road, whether or not we could include basically language that just would capture whatever that current amount is at the time that somebody's reading the handbook.
Yeah, and it could even be in addition to the mention of $50, which is accurate and provides guidance right now. But just like I think we talked about an employment handbook at one point in the past, and just like that, things change, and the amount of time it takes to end up getting edits like this made, you inevitably have some sort of a gap. And then it also seems to be inevitable that that's when an issue occurs that otherwise might be okay, but looks bad here, or vice versa. So really not, and the extent of my comments are going to be for issues like this that are maybe more flexibility driven. And yeah, if it's not a big deal for you guys to make those edits and keep it current and have version control, then it's probably not worth the time to spend changing anything right now.
Process wise, the actual process from the staff side of making an edit to the handbook itself isn't very complicated, but each edit of that nature would need to be vetted and essentially approved and put forth by the commission. So, with those caveats, staff can do whatever the commission thinks is the best path forward.
Okay. Yeah, and I don't know, again, where we're just presenting this today. I don't know if we're having enough discussion, or if this is kind of a rolling agenda item that we can have on here to also get input from the other commissioners when they return, but to get our thoughts down in the minutes today. The other things that I noticed were like formatting related. The bottom of page 11 and this just could be the way it pulls up when I'm viewing it. It looks like one of the bullet points for the reporting procedure parties has gone astray by itself and isn't tied to, like, the city attorney's office doesn't have a bullet point next to it and what I'm looking at, but there's one down to the left of human resources.
Are we able to view that from your screen, Vice Chair?
I don't.
Are you able to show
know.
us from your screen, or is? I don't have it in front of me, the reason I was asking.
I could try. I don't know if I have the authority to do that with the way that I'm set up on here, but let me see what I can do.
If not, no worries, and we can always bring it back up later and I can have it in front of me at that time.
Chairman King, on my copy, the bullet points do look okay. It's a printed copy, but
Okay.
The commission wishes, staff can just confirm that that formatting and fix that if anything is astray.
Yeah, it's really not a big deal. It's more just something that I'm like, I just want to grab that and put it back where it's supposed to go. But
it's on the edit view, like when you're reviewing. So like that stuff on the bottom too looks a little off. But yeah, it should be an easy fix.
So let's table that request, and then Patrick can dig into it a little bit more and get us some feedback on our next meeting. What do you think about that, Vice Chair?
yeah, I think that's great. The only other comment that I wanted to offer is that I think the examples are are really helpful. And it was well done putting those together.
Patrick, you have anything on those examples he's referring to?
Oh, no, I was just complimenting him. So there's nothing that, unless Patrick wants to say thank you because he was the one who drafted them.
I'm
Probably
not
doesn't require.
my boss, so I will thank her on my own behalf and let her know the kind words from the commission.
Well, I think people would probably skip reading the rest of it if this was located on the first couple of pages because it pretty much addresses everything, and it's specific enough that seems like it may have come from experience in real situations. So anyway, yeah, I think overall it looks good, and appreciate staff making the edits to reflect the updated code sections.
And I agree with you, Commissioner Howard. We got from the clerk to the staff, we got a really great group of guys and people around us to help this thing move forward pretty easy. So thank you for that. Patrick, is there anything else you want to say regarding email activity and hotline activity?
Chairman King, just a report out on the email and hotline activity. For the Ethics Commission inbox, we had some activity since the last meeting, but the overwhelming majority of that was a person who appears to live in Las Vegas and not here. Each email was addressed to over 400 recipients. Basically, any governmental email. It appears that any governmental email this individual could find was included. It did not appear to be directed to Boise as a place or as an organization or this commission. And the emails had language that was not appropriate to even be repeated here. So they were, not passed along to the commission because I reviewed each one and none of them mentioned Boise or raised any points that would potentially implicate Ethics Commission business. Outside of that, there were a couple cold marketing emails that came in and some ordinary travel requests. There was one substantive question that was raised. It had to do with a local business that wrote in, not actually to the commission inbox, but to the city staff, and it was routed accordingly, asking a question about offering a potential across-the-board discount to city employees for the services. And that exact question had been asked and answered by a previous advisory opinion in 6-03. So pursuant to ordinary practice, essentially that question was answered using the established advisory opinion by this commission. And for that reason wasn't passed along to be considered. While the facts were different, the question within the request was identical. So that's it for the email activity. And then as far as the hotline activity, we did receive one voicemail to the Ethics Commission hotline. However, it was also not substantive. It was evidently a spam call about debt cancellation and inviting the person on the other end of the phone to call the direct line of the robotic voice that had left the voicemail to inquire about how to cancel their debt. So that also was not a legitimate request to be passed along either.
Well, thank you, Patrick. It's odd. I got that same phone call. No, I'm joking, but thank you for that, and we appreciate you.
Thank you, Chairman King and commissioners.
So before we move to adjournment, is there anything that any of the commissioners would like to bring up as a part of special business? As far as I know, we talked last time about the process from, getting more familiar with the process from the beginning of a inquiry to the advisory opinion to us here at the front, at the commissioners meeting. Is there anything that, I know we mentioned the website as well. There's some questions about the website. So if there's anything that you guys would like to bring up so we could table for next meeting that we can make some notes of, I'll give you, a few seconds to, speak your mind.
I don't have anything.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Thank you as well, Commissioner. With that being said, I'll entertain a vote to adjourn.
Seconded.
Mr. Commissioner, I'd move that we adjourn the July 11th City of Boise Ethics Commission meeting.
Roll call vote.
Howarth,
Aye.
King,
Aye.
Zimmerman. All in favor, motion carries.
Meeting adjourned.